On this Burnout Extra, we're going to do an oil change in a 2007 Toyota Corolla. So follow along. If you have a Corolla within any of these years, it will pretty much be the exact same process. Just make sure you have the right oil type and right oil filter for the job. First things first, to start, you're gonna need to pop the hood and loosen the oil fill cap, which is right up top of the engine. It's also a good idea to do an oil change not directly after your car's been running. So if you just took a trip in your car, you should let the engine cool down because the oil will actually be too hot and potentially burn you. On the flip side, if your car has not been running at all, you should actually start it for about 5, maybe 10 seconds and then stop it. That gets the oil pumping through the system and allows it to flow out better. So once again, just be aware that you don't burn yourself, but at the same time, if it's been sitting, then maybe run it for 5 seconds. Next, you're going to either jack the car up, or in this case, we have a lift. So we're gonna lift the car up and then access the oil drain plug underneath. So next, you're going to want to find the oil drain plug, which is located right here on the car. It will be beneath this black oil pan underneath the engine. And this right here is a 14 millimeter, and you might need to double it up with another wrench to get it loose. Once you loosen this, there will actually be oil that pours out. So you're definitely gonna want some form of catch pan. Today we have this big one, but just be ready for oil to come out. After you've drained the oil out of the drain pan mostly, you can let that drip into the pan. And next, we're gonna take care of the oil filter, which is located right next to the pan, and it's a vertical filter. So unfortunately, there will be a lot of oil inside this oil filter. So when you screw it off, you kind of want to tip it into the pan because once again, because it's sitting straight up, it has a bunch of oil in the reservoir. So you're gonna have to kind of dump it into the pan when you take it out. So you may need to use an oil filter wrench, but most of the time you can just grab it by hand. Once again, it is filled with oil. A couple things when you're putting on the new oil filter to the car. You want to take a little bit of oil and rub it around this rubber gasket here. That will allow for a better seal when you're tightening the oil filter. And you want to make sure that this rubber little seal on top of the filter is not stuck on from the old one. You want that to come off with the old filter and then the new one go on with the new filter. And once again, I just rubbed a little bit of old oil on this seal and it just helps secure it when you tighten it up. I always like to also write the date and the mileage of the car on the filter, just in case the next person needs to check when it was done. And the best thing to do is just get it hand tight the best you can. Once you've tightened it to the best of your ability with just your hand, that's as tight as it needs to be. You don't need to over tighten that oil filter with an oil filter wrench or anything like that, because then it will strip out. Next, you want to put in the drain plug. Sometimes they have a little rubber gasket around the plug itself. This one actually just has a gasket kind of built into the pan, so this is good to go back in. And same with the oil filter, you want to make sure that this bolt is tight but not too tight. So what I normally do is tighten it with one wrench and then probably do 1/8 of a turn with 2 wrenches, and that's tight enough. Once again, you don't want that over tightened because it will strip out. After you've done this, you're good to drop the car and add some oil into the top of the engine. After you're all set underneath the car, you can come back up and add in the oil. This 1.8 liter engine for the Corolla takes about 4.4 quarts of oil. So we're going to add in the oil right now with a funnel. Once you've done that, you can tighten on the top oil cap, then run the car for about 10 seconds after everything is good to go. And then after you've run the car, turn it off and check the oil. It should be good on the dipstick. But like I said, you need to run it to get it through the system and through the new oil filter in order to get the correct reading. So that's gonna be all for this Burnout Extra. Thank you for tuning in and figuring out how to change your own oil on a 2007 Toyota Corolla. Like I said, this will be very similar for all the different years. Be sure to check out our channel for more videos like this. We always like to do tutorials where you can do the repairs in your own driveway. So once again, thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time.